What's up? What's good? Getting set up here. What's up? What's good? How we doing on this Friday? What is going on this Friday? What is up? How you doing, Mandy? What's good? Chill hop? I don't know what you're referring to. These are albums. We got a little lava lamp here. Yeah, got a new camera set up. Got a new camera set up here. Different angle, and yeah, going for a little lower angle. I think it was a little too high, being on top of the monitor. So put it more eye level here. Cheers, all the coffee drinkers. Cheers. So did some moving around, and then I line up everything, and of course this shot here. Oh, of course I'm getting phone calls. No, don't know you. I was getting phone calls before the stream too, which what kind of held me up a little bit. But everything all happens at once. So yeah, today I want to read a chapter from each book today. Woke up feeling dangerous, as Baker Mayfield would say. Woke up feeling dangerous. So yeah, I want to read a chapter. The first one will be the end of chapter 2 into chapter 3, and then I just want to read chapter 1 of Bleace Paradox, just chapter 1. It's the sequel. I don't want to give too much away, especially if you haven't read the first one. So, and then afterwards, I want to take some of these designs that we've put together on these streams and start applying them to some clothing. I want to do some yoga shorts. I want to do sports bra and some leggings. I want to get some new workout outfits in on this Friday. Bleace day for me, all day. Bleace day. We're here in the office cooking up some graphics all day, aka day off from CBS Sports. Yeah, and this is also the first period of YouTube, so they do like the 28 days. And this is the 28th day since I've really taken streaming seriously. Yeah. So it's been fun. It's been an interesting experience. It's been really nice post heart surgery of doing this and connecting. I've enjoyed this, and I'm feel really good about the response so far from these streams. In the period of YouTube of like the analytics and stuff, it's really good. It's inspiring to see, where I was at before, in just 28 days of putting out content, and it's been fun. Yeah, come hang out YouTube if you're on Instagram, YouTube or Twitch, live there, and try to be live about every day. Wasn't yesterday. I was a little tired. So, yeah, let's get into this, you know. So this is page I'll start on page 27, and as it sets up chapter 3, you know, if I start just at chapter 3, it hasn't been set up yet. Appreciate you hanging out on this Friday. Take a sip of water. Happy Friday. Happy Friday to you, Instagram peeps. Thank you for hanging out. Thank you. Hola. What's up, Scooty Woo? What's up? What's up? Yeah, about to do a live reading from the first book. Gonna hit the ending of chapter 2 into chapter 3. So this is Bleace. Boom. You can see the little stack behind me here. Mike and Orby didn't have that kind of skin to be on autofill. Their light box had run out a long time ago. Of course, Mike being the only one taking it, Orby made sure the light box was programmed to not give him any. He knew how sneaky they could be. He always tried to stay alert, even in the light box haze, a task much easier said than done. Orby touched the light box arm. Off, he commanded, and the arm retracted. Hey, Mike, Orby greeted him as he sat locked into the program. They don't call it programming for nothing. Orby noticed Mike was wearing a Crade All XY t-shirt, pockets filled with Zerk pills and powder. Mike didn't respond, so Orby hit the arm of the lightbox. Off, he commanded, but the arm didn't move. Hey, Mike, Orby shouted, tapping his arm. Mike's eyes were frantically pacing back and forth between the lightbox and the eye poke that was scrolling through picture after picture, written post after written post. One always was contradicting the other. Whatever was to come next was always to be the best. How can something be truly better than another? Is it not just different? Orby scoffed at the box. Emergency off, he commanded as he hit the arm again with more force than the first attempt. The light box finally retracted its arm and floated a few feet away. Hey, what's up, Orb? Mike finally responded as if he was noticing Orby for the first time that morning. Not much, just sick to my stomach watching the light box too much. Oh yeah, know exactly what you mean. Mike's head twitched to the right, chin going past the height of his shoulder. The Zerk jerks always surprised Orby in how they never broke anything. So, how you feeling after last night, bro? Mike laughed. Honestly, don't remember anything after doing those shots of Choisin here. Mike laughed even harder. Security? No, bro. Orby waved his hand and looked around the room. Will you please enlighten Orby here about last night? I'm good, bro. Orby looked more panicked as he searched around the room. They offer peace of mind when I am not home, the Slumvarian Rusitary paid advertisement on the front door would repeat over and over to those who thought about opting out. Playing every 2Y on all light boxes. When they call it programming, do consumptions really buy things by their own will? Unfortunately, Orby didn't move fast enough. Out of the corner of the room came a long, metallic, 5-fingered hand with a needle stemming from the palm. It grabbed the back of Orby's head, and within an XX, he was standing in a daze, watching the playback from the security system cameras that watched over every house on the planet of Consumptia. Chapter 3, Choisin. Take a sip of water real quick. Chapter 3, Choisin. Orby crashed through the front door, laughing hysterically as he stumbled to the floor. A young female amaranthine-skinned Missourian with short black hair followed him, wobbling side to side. Leaning against the wall, she tried to help Orby up. Her skimpy black dress barely cleared her hip. Red rubies were sewn into the skin on her hands and neck. The implants were extremely expensive, so most females started in much the same way to cover their skin. Ruby-skinned beings were the elite class, and those who were not of that skin would go through any procedure to elevate their status, no matter how excruciating it was. Even if they did manage to cover their skins completely, these females were heckled and labeled freaks by the ruling class. Orby didn't care. The Choisin bars were filled with females like this. If they wanted to attract the best suitable male, the females had to stand out. If they had drunk enough Choisin, it became a matter of just getting laid, feeding their egos with some random desire. "Baby, you are so damn sexy," Orby professed as he kissed her. He opened his eyes and the camera zoomed in. His black pupils spun around and convulsed, the usual effects of Choisin. He slid his hand up her dress to grab her ass. She moaned and pulled him closer. After a few XX, he said, "Let's take this upstairs." Let's," she replied in a high-pitched voice. The camera zoomed in on her eyes, cerulean pupils swimming in her xanthic retinas. Orby tried a couple of times to pick her up and carry her upstairs, but failed miserably. As they made their way upstairs, Mike was writing on his Compulite 2.0, while his eye poke stabbed him in the temple and floated around his face, desperately trying to distract him. Creaticians like Orby were better at producing because they weren't given Zerk. Consumptions were meant to consume, not to produce. The Slumvarian Rusitary strictly controlled all consumable products on the planet. They didn't like outsiders to take viewers away from the establishment. Eye pokes and light boxes were programmed to distract when they saw a being writing, painting, or anything else that was creative. At the same time, those who had been exposed to such technology were even more susceptible to distractions while they were creating. It was a vicious, unproductive cycle. Orby and his female companion bounced off the walls, laughing harder and harder as they went up the stairs. The walls appeared to be getting great joy out of this. They would conform around Orby's body and shove him back to the other side of the stairwell. Once on the second floor, it took him a while to remember which door led to his room. In his room, the two undressed each other on the bed. He kissed her all over. When he went to go down on her, she clenched her legs. Not on the first night. "What?" Orby asked, puzzled. "I don't put out on the first night. Never have, big boy. Just keep kissing me. I love it." "You serious? What, you don't like kissing me?" she asked as she went to give him another kiss. "Not if that's all we're going to do," he replied, pulling away from her. "Is that what you think of me? Babe, come on. I am not one and done. I really like you." "I like you too." Orby kissed her amaranthine skin, working his way down again, getting further this time, all the way down to her bony little hip, before she grabbed his head between her thighs. "I told you, not tonight. Come snuggle with me and let's go to sleep." Orby slipped his head out from between her thighs and pushed them aside. "Pair of sucking cock tease. That's all you are." "Wait, what did you call me?" "A pair of sucking cock tease. Exactly what you are." "No, I don't want to snuggle. Get out of my room." "So rude. Why do I always fall for assholes?" she asked as she felt around for her dress. "Call me whatever you want. Just get out." "Screw you, worthless parasucking creaticism who isn't going anywhere in life. Screw you and your fake-ass rubies that look like shit. You said they were sexy. I said you were smart, too. I would have said anything to sleep with you." She zipped up her dress and pushed her spiked shoes back into her heels. On top of the ruby implants, females also drove large spikes into their heels so they could appear taller to attract better male suitors. The mechanical hand let go of Orby's head. He collapsed on the couch, malachite face filled with utter disgust. "Hate the way Choisin makes me do stupid shit." Whenever Orby grew increasingly irritated, his skin would turn a darker shade of malachite and become hardened with vermilion scales. Hey, it's all good, bro." Mike tried to console him as his arms continued to twitch erratically. The light box could sense the growing negative energy, the kind it loved to feed off. Without being told to turn on, its arm stretched out and attempted to jab its needle in Orby's temple. Orby quickly grabbed the arm. "Get away from me! Off, off, off!" Mike shouted. The light box retracted its arm. Orby stood up and paced around the living room. "I need some pineapple. We got any left?" "No, we smoked it all before you left last night." "How the hell do we never have any pineapple when I need some?" Orby's skin darkened and hardened even more. "What are you truly mad at, Orby?" The school therapist's words echoed in his head. Piercing xanthic eyes glared at him through her thick glasses, diamond nails tapping along her notepad. It was said every secret of all the students and teachers were kept in her long dark hair that twisted on top of her head. Drinking choisin and smoking pineapple were the only two things that doused the fury for Orby. The combination of the two drugs gave him company. Having malachite skin wasn't easy living on a planet where cerise skin consumptions ruled. Creaticisms had been mostly wiped out, first by genocide when their planet first collided, then by a series of oppressive techniques the Slumvarian Rusitary had developed. First, there was no access to health care, so if someone was diseased, it was like they had one foot in their grave. Some were vaccinated, although this caused more problems than it solved. Criticisms caught on, but not before rampant disease had its way with a quarter of the barely surviving population. An increase in Rusitary soldier presence in their small, overcrowded neighborhoods added to the stress. Orby's grandfather had lived through those oppressive times. Those who were able to make a decent living were the few who had become well versed in the Otheotaurus about the Contridian developed Almighty. Orby knew that if you played by the strict rules cast upon you, you were allowed into the society. Most made sure their kids underwent skin replacement surgery at an early age. These doctors were often the first creaticisms they were exposed to. Orby's mother underwent that surgery when she was a child. She was barely old enough to remember the experience in her dreams. She never spoke of it. Most were changed to Misereans, as this was much cheaper than changing it to appear as a consumption. Of course, if one did this, they were branded on the chest with a circle to let the Rusitary know they were not true-blooded consumptions. Misereans were still oppressed, but not like creaticisms. Misereans were docile and respected authority, whereas creaticisms were wild and carefree and did nothing but write or paint weird symbols all over buildings, sidewalks, and motor vehicles. None of this was tolerated by the Slumvarian Rusitary. If one got caught doing any of the following, it was punishable by a public beheading and a complete skin removal while the being was still alive. Creaticism skin spent by creaticisms had 1/100th the value of consumption skin. However, if a consumption were to spend creaticism skin, it was worth more than if a creaticism tried to spend it. This being the third wave of creaticism depopulation. What are you truly mad at, Orby? His ruby-skinned Opridian therapist asked through the thick ocular judgmentals strapped to her skull by laced diamonds. Her hair was made of shiny black minerals. Who scares you? She asked. I'm sorry, Orby asked, puzzled. Who scares you? Well, I am scared of Spidandorenders and their 18 legs and all their little eyes, Orby boyishly replied. Do they wake you in your sleep? Sometimes, if I dream about them. Orby frowned at the ground and shook his head. It's okay, Orby. You have nothing to be scared of. Fear of unknown creatures will always be jarring to one's psyche. That is the purpose of the unknown, to destabilize normal, to shake your foundation, to crack it and force you to fix it. Fix it? What's it? Your mental fortress, the one you are trying to hide in right now, up in that tower. What tower? Don't you spot me, Orby? I'm the one standing outside the stone wall of your face. Orby closed his eyes. That's it. Let the image seep in. Take a deep breath. Orby inhaled quickly through his nostrils as they flared open. Now, let the gates all come down, she whispered. The words caressed his ears, rubbed the back of his neck. Loose. Orby is standing in a stone castle. From the high tower window, he looks out onto a large field of grass beyond the wall. Trees make a half circle around the field. Blue and red suns are high in the sky, circling each other around and around. He realizes he does not know where he is, but feels right at home. He imagines this is as close to childhood as he will ever get. He levitates over the chair. He can view his body sitting there, eyes closed. Mike slapped him across the face. Yo, hey Orbs! Are we gonna get that pineapple or what? He asked, frantically scratching at his arm. Mike slapped Orby again. Listen to me! Listen to me! Mike furiously shouted. Orby blinked, then put his hands up to defend himself. What? Orby snapped. Are we gonna get pineapple? Are we gonna get pineapple? You never answered me. Are we gonna get pineapple to smoke? Yeah, definitely need some pineapple. Well, here you go, bro. Mike took a knife from his pocket and handed it to Orby. Here you go. Orby rolled up his shorts and took the knife to his thigh to cut a piece of skin off. It was worth more when it was bloody. Whoever received the payment could suck on it for a while to enhance their Zerk high. The thigh was Orby's go-to spot. It wasn't as agonizing as having someone cut off a piece from your back or having to nearly touch bone to get a piece off properly. He hated the way the blade scraped across the spine, how it would make his teeth chatter. Of course, there were hard times that arose when he had to cut from unfavorable parts of his body. After being on his own for so long, there were too many parts of his skin that were scarred pale with almost no value. Orby had a job, of course, but buying pineapple was illegal, so it was easier to cut a piece off than to go to the bank and explain why you needed to get skin out. Skin in the bank was only meant for bills and consumption taxes. Every time he would get his paycheck from the cemetery, he wouldn't even have time to notice it. Checks were only numbers on a screen. He didn't even know what it meant. All he knew was that he had to show up to the cemetery and be its slave for at least 40x and 5xy. Michael didn't have to work a low-end job like Orby did. Michael made his skin on the computer doing different things for businesses around Fort Mimi. Michael handed him a couple of pieces of dried flesh. Orby put them in the clear bag with his own. That was chapter 3. So, on top of the reading, I also wanted to kind of just go through a couple things on why I chose this chapter and give some insight as to certain things behind it. Getting some feedback, which I love because, and I've talked about this too, yes, I understand a woman reading this from a female perspective, it does come off as sexist. I admit that. I know that. That is purposeful. It comes around full circle. In the second book, it comes around. There's a reason for everything in this book. a reason for everything. Um, I don't want to give too much away, but it does come around. Lessons get learned. I feel with everything in this book, and this book is very harsh, and for the elder generation, it may not be as easy to get through, but and I started writing this, in 2009, and there's the line in there which is now controversial. I am not against vaccines or saying that, but at the same time, you do have to look at history and what has been done and why people do feel a certain way about vaccines. So there's that controversial line, as well as the clear sexism that this character has, and it is this character, and you see my point of view in the second book here. And I understand that women will read this, being in 2021, and saying, oh, he's a male, this machoism view. I recognize that. I understand that. I understand the plight. And from my personal experience, looking back, there are times I wish I was like, you idiot, have more respect. And so I had to put both sides of that in there to show that ugliness, but then show lessons learned. And so, and what I've said about this before is that I understand that I am a man and I cannot fully write as a woman. So it is always going to be from that perspective, and I recognize that. I have to understand the limits of that, and try to grow as best as I can in that understanding that is always ongoing. You're always learning. And the other part in this chapter was when he's visioning his therapist, and he sees that fortress. It's a bit of foreshadowing, which comes later in this first book, towards the ending, when he goes on this journey with Breezy, and they go to this castle, and he's standing there. It reverts back to this moment here. So I'm laying that foundation, which will get returned to towards the end of the book. And maybe the reader will pick up on that. Maybe they haven't. Orby doesn't make that connection. He fails to meet that connection. So I start developing that from this chapter here. And another reason why I chose to read this, I've read, I think, chapter 17 before. That's my go-to for this first book. But yes, this is the first book. Bleace Paradox is a true sequel. If you start with Bleace Paradox, it really won't make much sense. There will be a lot missed. And I just, in this first one, I just throw you into it. Like, I don't explain what XYZ is. I don't expect what XY is. A lot of the colors are actual colors. Amaranthine is an actual color. It's just most people use green or red. And, I went back and forth with this with the editor, and she really told me bluntly, and that's why I love Karen. Shout out Karen Gelhar, who's edited both books and my first two books. She's been there with me and has helped me so much develop as a writer, and I love that, I have a woman editor speaking to the sexism, and we've talked about it, and you do see where I go with it. And chapter 2 as well, there's a moment that I talk about rap music, and people think that that's how I view rap music, and it's not how I view it. It's how I view a certain sector. And again, this was written 2009, 2010, and if you look at music at that time, and especially when I was in high school, ringtone music, and so I'm writing from that time period. And now, years later, so many rappers have called this out, of the ringtone music, and blasting it for being materialistic and superficial. And I do that as well, so that's, and again, comes around, and that's why I call it paradox. If you think of a paradox, it's almost like a mirror of itself. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed that reading. I'm going to be doing more readings like that, and it was just so funny. Like, years I didn't tell anyone I was a writer. So doing this kind of stuff, you really expose yourself, and people ask a bunch of questions, because everything, especially when you're just starting out, I feel like, and having it be your first book, and being so personal, and crossing these lines that I purposely cross, I've gotten feedback of like, oh, this made me feel uncomfortable. And again, this is why I put this in chapter 3, and why I wanted to read it. Unknown creatures will always be jarring to one's psyche. That is what I want these books to do. I feel we've all, Game of Thrones, crossed some lines. He definitely crosses some lines. And it has an effect on a reader or a viewer of the show. And that's what I go for. Everything has a reason behind it. It isn't, I'm not just throwing gross stuff just to throw gross stuff in there, or to be explicit in a certain way. I do it for a reason. There is a why driving this what that you're seeing, of what is happening. There is a why behind it. And some of those take time to develop. And when I was first writing this, and I had this completed, it was all one book. But then I went through it again, and like when I was going through it, like I've written these and rewritten, and then rewritten them, and then rewrote them again, and then rewrote them again. So this isn't just one time. So there's been multiple times where I go through this book and this process, and after the first time going through it again, I realized once I got to that chapter that ends the first book, I'm like, this is two different books here. It's two different feels. Pacing is different. The pacing in this one is Mandy gave me the feedback of like, man, my head was spinning. Exactly. Yes. So this book takes place on a free-floating planet. Okay? It's not like Earth going around, but even Earth is traveling on an XY it is also traveling on a Z plane. We are also traveling further out as the entire universe spins. We are also traveling a Z space in distance. Our coordinates are changing with each passing year, just ever so slightly, ever so slightly. So physically, we are at a place that we've physically never been before. And that's why you get years like 2020, and things just continue to change. Sometimes those changes are over long periods of time. Sometimes those changes are a year. Look how different it is. January 29th, 2021 versus January 29th, 2020. How far have we changed? What was happening on this day a year ago? We were learning of COVID-19, what it was. I was all excited going to Europe in March. Oh. I was going to go to Venice, Italy, which I have been wanting to go to for so long. Since high school. I'd wanted to go to Venice, Italy, to Milan, to Florence. Oh, I had a whole trip planned. I was booking a restaurant to watch my 10,958th sunset. Yes, that's how many sunsets I had seen when I had turned 30. I had a whole post, which I still posted, but change. And so the free floating planet of it. And I want to have that effect. And eventually these will be made into animated films. They will. And these are the first two books of a series. I have a third one, planned out. I've started on it. But writing these two books and going through this process. So this one came out 2019. This one came out in 2020. Almost, I tried to do it exactly a year later. Of course, 2020 happened and pushed everything back. So, it was close to a year. I think I was off by like 2 months, but whatever, 14 months. So going through that, if you've published a book before, it's a grueling process. The writing process is the level of focus you need. You see me, I work on like Photoshop and After Effects. That takes focus as well. And I'm in this first month of streaming this. I am noticing like trying to focus on the work itself while streaming. It's something new that I'm getting used to. Thank you for bearing with me, and I hope you're enjoying what I've been able to come up with in these first 28 days. I would never be able to stream and write. There's just no way. So there's that difference of the focus. There is an aloneness in writing. You have to be alone. I like to be in the office, shut the door. I put on my headphones. You don't hear anything with these. Literally, I've worn them at work in the office, and people come in the edit bay. I won't even hear them, and the guy's like has to wave his hand in front of me. They're life changing. I finished both of these books wearing these, listening to Ludovico Einaudi. Love Ludo. think I discovered him in 2013, 2012, 2013. So for the past 7 years, 8 years, I have a whole Ludo playlist on Spotify. I exclusively listen to him while writing. I don't think going forward as a professional writer, I wouldn't be able to write without listening to him. And there's a certain aspect of mental training. And I listen to music over and over again. I can not only watch movies an unlimited amount of times, I can listen to the same song an unlimited amount of times. And there's some studies behind this of listening to music and studying and remembering, you can tie a song to an answer, to a math problem, to whatever problem. So you listen to the same music while you're studying. Wish they would let you listen to music while you took the test. You would see improvement. But I would listen while I was in college. I would listen to a certain playlist while studying, and I would be listening to that leading up to the last second that I could not listen to music anymore. And it really helped me. Really helped me once I discovered that. So my go-to for writing is Ludo, and I don't see that ever changing. Because there's been times when I'll throw on like a Ludo playlist and with other musicians, and as soon as another song comes up, it throws me. So it's pretty exclusive to. And I tried Chopin, Frederick Chopin, Beethoven. Chopin I could a little bit to certain songs. There's another one. Is it Glass? There's another pianist that's really good. Some of his songs. But in the last 5 years, I've cut out all the other ones that, I've tried. And for morning, and that's just writing like books. For morning writings, that's another thing I do, especially when I'm, full-time writing like I would make sure to write at least 1,000 words every morning. And most of the time that was spent, and I highly recommend doing this to people, writing down your dreams. It helps you remember your dreams, details of your dreams, and it's just great material that you can use then, you can use later. That is a lot of this stuff, for better or worse, is dreams that I've had. And I start with a nightmare in book 1. And some people, I've gotten quite a few responses from. And originally that was a later chapter. But during one of the several times I was writing and rewriting, I was like, you know what? I am going to slap these readers right off the get. Because that's how I feel like a really good show. They hit you right in that first scene. And I'm a firm believer, and I've stuck to this. I stuck to this with Westworld. That first scene in Westworld did not capture me. The first scene did not capture me. Think of any great show you've seen. Go back and watch that first scene. Watch the first scene. Any great show has a great first scene. Game of Thrones, White Walker, first scene. Boom. Breaking Bad. I brought this up on the stream before. Breaking Bad. Comes out of the RV in his underwear, like, what the fuck is going on here? And that's how the end of the first scene. First scene is also the last scene in the episode. It's great. Sopranos. Think of the first scene. Boom. It's incredible. Talking to a therapist. Wow. Bam. First seat. First scene. Okay. Speaking of first scenes. Sorry, I keep hitting that. Speaking of first scenes, we're going to start with the first chapter of the second book here. Bleace Paradox. Starting with the first one, the first chapter, as it is a sequel, and many have not read the first one, and I don't want to give too much away. Appreciate you hanging out on this Friday. Happy Friday. Even though we work weekends. Many I know work weekends. Cheers, all the coffee drinkers again. Cheers, cheers, cheers. But again, just starting out streaming like this and taking streaming seriously, I'm so appreciative of the feedback so far. And thank you for taking the time to check these videos out. Really appreciate it. And it's very helpful to, in this early stage, a follow or a subscribe is free, and it's much appreciated. Please. Thank you to those who have subscribed. Please subscribe or follow on Twitch, Bleace_Bandit. Subscribe to Bleace channel on YouTube. Going to be putting out a lot of content this year and going forward. So, here's a bookmark which I also designed. A little bookmark. They come with the book, which so I've also designed. I've designed these books, both covers, made from paintings I've done. Shirt I'm wearing, everything you see on the wall except this one. My sister Mandy. Shout out Mandy. What's up? Yeah, and the books here, bleace.com. You can buy one, get one, 25% off. Buy the first one. If you haven't read it yet, you get the second one 25% off. Free shipping. Bada bing, bada boom. So yeah, some of the biggest questions I received after the first book is, what is Bleace? What is the definition of Bleace? Is it just bliss and peace? Oh, that one irks me. I have a pad of paper when I woke up in the middle of the night and came up with the word Bleace. I'm sure it may have been said in some point in human history, but if you Google it, nothing comes up. So it is my word legally now. After these years, anything Bleace is mine. But came up with it. Middle of the night, woke up again, writing dreams down. The more you write, the more comes to mind, more details, everything. So I wanted to just clarify and to get everyone on the same page so that they can get the most out of this book. And that's what I was afraid of when I received those questions. As I was hoping, I do throw these terms at you in the beginning where I don't explain them, but my hope was by the end you kind of understood of what XYZ, XY, XX, and the different species, and there's two suns. But I really wanted to disorient, I really want you to just be in this different state and to alienate you. There are times where you may not fully understand, but that's part of the alienation, to cause a jarring of the psyche, which will hopefully broaden some horizons, broaden some perspectives, as it's very clear that needs to happen here. I have read this before, but again, I want everyone on the same page here as we get into chapter 1. Bleace, noun, potential energy stored inside the chemical makeup of every living creature in the universe that, once recognized and harnessed, can be kinetically unleashed through passionately positive, creative acts that do not directly or indirectly harm others, i.e., writing, photography, painting, directing, acting, designing, cooking, or being a flaneur. Example: after the boy learned how to harness his bleace, he was able to unleash it through writing. Time on the free-floating planet of Consumptia is in reference to the fact that the planet floats in space through the X, Y, and Z planes. Years, XYZ, days, XY, hours, X, minutes, Y, seconds, XX. Pick up a writing utensil. Let the universe know how you feel it. Pick up a brush. Let the universe know how you see it. Pick up an instrument. Let the universe know how you hear it. Pick up a camera. Let the universe know how you perceive it. Pick up yourself. Let the universe know how you can help it. Chapter 1. Half XYZ later. Breezy was absolutely glowing as he moved along the creature mover conveyor belt. Outside the glass tube, Breezy could see a sign. It once stood tall over the street, but now laid covered in ash. All that was left of the sign were the letters Chem. It was enough to let Breezy know he was in Chemster. What were once dirt paths 10 XYZ ago, when Orby had lived in Chemster as a boy, were now glass tubes that led Consumptians to one of two places: the Zerk factory or the Parasucker Club. Inside the tubes, like the one Breezy was in, every single Consumptian, Creaticism, and Miserian was focused on their eye pokes, which now had 8 needles instead of just one, like the one Orby had. Each eye poke feverishly stabbed its users. 2 needles in each temple, 1 for each eye, and 2 in the heart. With every plunge of the needle, the user's eyes rolled and their teeth chattered. 2 well-known side effects of Zerk, known as Zerk jerks. Watching the needles, he saw little pink droplets bubble out. Must be a new feature. The cloaked Bleacian was the only one without an eye poke, which naturally drew the attention of the floating cameras that hovered over everyone inside the tubes. Like the eye pokes, they were armed with needles of their own, One camera drifted towards him. Once, it was a few feet away. Its outstretched arm took aim. The camera jabbed the needle at Breezy's temple. He was quicker than the little robotic arm and stood and stopped the needle from penetrating the skin by a few millimeters. The little camera swung its other arm, but again, Breezy stopped the needle before it broke skin. As Breezy focused on the camera, an advertising light box floated in front of his face to distract him. Breezy, buy a shirt new for just 150 pounds of skin and get a second shirt for free. How did it know my name? Hurry, Breezy, buy now and save. I can take the skin right off your back for only 5 pounds more for handling. Buy now, now, now. With every thunderous now, the light box injected a hit of Zerk directly into Breezy's brain. The third needle penetrated the back of his head. He felt the numbing rush as it pulsated through his brain. His skin started to tingle. His body felt weightless. He wanted to lift his arm, but didn't have the strength. I will make the handling as pleasurable as I can, a soft female voice from the lightbox purred, her tone like warm honey in his ear. Breezy took a deep breath. The pure oxygen being pumped into the glass tube opened a different part of his brain. He remembered what he was doing on the creature mover in the first place. He was going to Orby's grandfather on the farm. No, Breezy yelled as he jerked his body away from the light box. While he stared at the screen, the camera had inserted its needles into his temple. He ripped them out and pushed the floating camera away. It set off a blaring alarm that sent stinging bees into his ears. Even with all of this commotion, not a single creature on the conveyor belt noticed. The eye pokes were designed to brighten in color and to stab faster if they felt the user's attention waning. Breezy looked up and slammed against the glass enclosure. Breaking through it with half his body, he felt a needle penetrate his leg. He pushed himself out of the container into the smog-filled outskirts. The outskirts now covered the entire planet except for the creature mover tubes, the Zerk factory, the Parasucker Club, and the few enclosed houses only the very skin-rich could afford. He ran on top of the glass tubes towards Orby's grandfather's house. The tube split off in different directions, one leading directly to the house. Yet, nothing about the house was the same. The strong white fences that ran the length of the field were now brown, rotten. Most of the fence had fallen to the ground. The herd of cattle that had once roamed the fields were chalk-white bones. So, too, were the team of 30 stricken-dowsers that Orby used to ride. The once bright green field was nothing but orange mud now. Breezy walked the dirt-covered yard toward the back of the house. The windows were specially made to keep the smog out. It was cheaper than a dome, no doubt. Mimi would never pay for such a thing. No, she must hoard her skin. She had lived through the Depression. She knew how hard times could get. She wasn't about to forget how hard it was for an entire family to live off one can of soup. A time when parents would have 13 children just so they could afford to skin a few alive to pay for rent. A double door in the back of the house was the only point of entry. With the amount of dirt that had collected around it, the door looked like it hadn't been opened in quite some time. After seeing the only door in or out, he began to think the worst had happened. As Breezy expected, it wasn't locked. Out here, they never locked the doors. Creatures out here had too many weapons for overly anxious Zerk heads, and it was perfectly within the law to skin a trespasser alive and do with them whatever you wished. Breezy knew Orby's grandfather was well armed and unafraid to protect his property. He wiggled open the first door, pushing back and forth to move the large pile of orange dirt. Inside the glass enclosure that used to be the back porch, he knocked on the second door that led inside the house. Orby's grandfather used to sit on the back porch and watch Orby ride the stricken Dowsers, his dog running alongside them. Woody! He could still hear Orby's young voice calling out the name in excitement. Oh, the jolts of energy that would give. Every XY after school, sunshine, rain, or snow, Orby was out there riding those therapeutic beasts. I would have loved to have felt their presence of mind now. Breezy tried to look out at the field, but thick orange mud on the outside of the enclosure obscured his view. He knocked again before turning the rusty handle on the door that, like the door leading to the porch, was unlocked. If they can't pay their way, they can't stay. Live in consumptia for free? Skin them alive is what I say, a voice from the eye poke screamed. Breezy knew instantly that it was Squirmy at another one of his rallies. Breezy stared at the screen in the living room. Squirmy says this as he takes in millions of pounds of flesh from iPoke Lightbox and Compulite manufacturers. Hello? Anyone home? Breezy said softly in his smooth electronic voice. He looked around with two elongated eyes. An old female whispered in the distance, mutterings Breezy couldn't understand. Breezy stepped inside and quietly closed the door. Anyone home? He asked again. The kitchen was surprisingly clean. It looked the same as it did when Orby was a boy. The same round table, made of bright yellow wood, was still standing strong after generations of use. The only dirty part of the place was all the cobwebs and little black 18-legged spidandorenders crawling on the wall. Mimi was too short to knock them down, so they all built their webs just beyond her reach. Breezy wandered past the kitchen into the living room. The green chair that Orby sat in to watch laser smoke with his grandfather at night was still there. No lightbox watching was allowed when the suns were out. A dimly lit eye poke hovered over his grandfather lying down on the couch. Skin them alive! Squirmy continued to rage on the lightbox that had 2 needles in Mimi's temple and 2 in his grandfather. The crowd chanted, Skin them alive! Mimi was sitting in the green chair next to him, with an eye poke hovering in front of her face. She was watching a female consumption with ruby-encrusted skin bake a Miserean-filled pie. The cloaked Bleacian walked up to them unnoticed. He turned to look at his grandfather, and staring up at him was nothing but a flesh-covered skull. The slowly moving needles penetrated what thin veil of skin he had left. After however many XYZ, he had been lying there, dead. The sight was not as shocking as the thought of Orby's grandfather dying however many XYZ ago, and no one in the family bothered to bury him. Breezy lifted his gaze and looked out the large bay window that had a view of the dirt road. On the other side was a long sloping hill that led into the woods. What was once a vast green grass field filled with apple trees was now dirt and decay. Amazing how time creeps so fast. Who are you? Mimi yelled as her hand snapped around Breezy's wrist. He jerked his head quickly to look at her. Breezy, he replied in a loud electronic voice that shocked the elder even more. The malachite-skinned creaticison looked at him puzzled. He realized that he must be an alien sight to her. She most certainly has never seen a Bleacian before. I mean, I was Orby, but Orby, she said softly, turning her body in the chair to look him up and down. Is it really you, boy? She asked. I changed, Mimi. Breezy held her gaze, pushed the power button on the side of the eye poke to turn it off. He put a hand on her shoulder, and the two were off. They were back in the living room. Orby's grandfather lay on the couch, much like he was laying now, except he had a face and was breathing through a mask. He wheezed in and out, painfully slow. A Missourian nurse sat next to him, monitoring his levels on a compulate. Gary! Mimi screeched in the loudest voice she could in hopes he could still hear. I tried calling everyone. Not everyone answered. He didn't respond. He slowly wheezed in and out rhythmically. The clear mask with a bright orange strap pumped 99% oxygen into his lungs. A few XX later, it would suck out dense brown air. A sluggish puff would enter the chamber of the machine next to him. He smoked Sigazerks 65XYZ out of his 72XYZ life. He had stopped for the past 2XYZ, but that did little to repair his damaged lungs. I think it's time, Mimi said softly to the Missourian nurse. Okay, the nurse nodded. She bent over and pulled the plug from the wall. She put a hand on Gary's forehead. He wheezed for a few why. I love you, Gary, Mimi said as she sat in the chair, lightheaded. It's for the better, the nurse said, looking into Gary's blue eyes. Breezy could see the understanding in them. Gary knew it was time before anyone else did. He wanted to go before anyone else was ready to let him. He was confined to that sofa, relying on others to do everything for him. He had too much fight in his heart to allow that to go on, but he had no other choice. The selfish love of everyone around him didn't want to let him go. Breezy morphed into a crying Orby. He walked over to his grandfather and kissed him on the cheek. Before you came into my life, I never had a father figure. Having you pass on, feels like my father passing on. I am so sorry that I couldn't be there for you. I am so sorry. I will carry you forever in my heart. The lessons you taught me when I was young were not in vain. That XY, you taught me how to ride a stricken. When I fell, you laughed and said, honey, there ain't a cowboy that's rode that ain't been throwed. You told me to get up and get back on that fucking stricken dowser. I have used that mindset any time I have faced an obstacle in life. If I fall down 8 times, I will get up double for good measure. I love you, Gary, and always will. Orby gave him another kiss on the cheek. He lifted his head and looked to his left. Breezy was sitting meditation style on the floor. Orby lunged at him. Why did you bring me here? Why? To help you. To torture me. Learn to love that feeling of loss, as you cannot lose something that you haven't already gained. Realize what his life meant to you and grow from it, as I have done with you. Let me out, Orby yelled with a crazed look in his eyes as he tugged on Breezy's cloak. That was Chapter 1, Bleace Paradox, Chapter 1. Appreciate you listening to that. Yeah, Chapter 1 of the sequel to Bleace is the sequel here. That was Chapter 1. This book came out in 2020, about a year apart. These are the first 2 books of a series I've been working on that I worked on for 10 years to get these 2 books out. yeah, so I don't want to give away the ending of the first book, but I continue right on in the second book, half XYZ later, which, as I pointed out, an XYZ on the free floating planet is equivalent to a year that we experience. I really enjoy doing these readings. Took a while to even admit that I was a writer. um, so doing these readings, I wish I was doing these at bookstores. So after I wrote the first book, I went to New York, I went to Philadelphia, Washington, D.C. I just went to bookstore after bookstore after bookstore, and just trying to set up events. They're all, most of them were all open to doing an event. Some of them, they each have their restrictions or requirements in doing that. It would require getting people there and logistics. And I also had plans of doing stuff down in Miami. It's just bad timing, It kind of really put a hamper on all the plans that I wanted to do. So doing a little change, and we'll be streaming me reading them. I hope you enjoyed that. I'll be doing more and just select chapters from each. Yeah, that was fun. And yeah, this first chapter really sets up the conflict that continues throughout the book. And this is a real place that I spent most of my youth riding horses, as I call them, stricken dowsers. And that's an actual quote that my grandfather, rest in peace, used. Honey, there ain't a cowboy that's rode that ain't been throwed. He said that to me when I was 11 years old. My first ride, so I had ridden horses when I was like 5 or 6. My grandmother took me to a farm. And this is my step grandfather, but I consider him my grandfather at this point. And just like my sisters are my sisters, even though they're half and stepsisters, they're my sisters. And they're loved as such. There's no steps in between that love. There's no half a step in between that love. It's love and sisters. So the first riding experience I consciously remember is getting on this horse that some called Bossy, some called Trouble. Puts my little 11-year-old ass on this thing, slaps its ass, gets in this gator, it's like a 4-wheeler thing, and chases me. The fucking horse bucks me off. I fall on the ground. I was already scared shitless. I'm already scared shitless of this thing. It's a huge horse. I needed a box to get up on it, and then him like pushing me up on this horse. It starts moving immediately. The slap on the ass was not necessary. It was already moving. He slaps it on the ass, gets on this thing, and as soon as he starts chasing me, starts bucking at the sound. I get thrown off, land on my back. The wind gets knocked out of me. My grandfather's laughing so hard at this. He's laughing so hard at this. And he gives me that line, honey, there ain't a cowboy that's rode that ain't been throwed. Get your ass back on that fucking horse. Well, he didn't add the fucking until I said no. I said, no, I'm not doing that. I'm done. He said, honey, go catch that horse and get back on that. And I did. And this time he didn't chase me, but I still was thrown again. I think that was a total of, I was thrown 3 times before I was officially done. I didn't break my arm on this one, but I hurt my arm, and I was done. And it took me a while to ride again, and I was helped by other people. And you tell that people to other, you tell that story to other horse people, and they're just like, wait, Gary, that's not how you do this. That's not how you do any of this. You even break horses that had never been ridden. The one I remember starkly is a horse that became named Cowboy because you had to be a cowboy to ride this one. I still have a scar on my hip from the first day of riding him. He drug me across a field. I couldn't get my right leg out. I couldn't get my right leg out, so I'm on my side while this horse is just booking it across this field. It was the last time I tried breaking. It's called breaking a horse in. When they've never been ridden, you got to train them. They generally react with bucking, trying to get you off their back by any means necessary, which sometimes even means rolling while you're on top of their back. I've had that happen before, and I've had to jump off because the horse is literally just going to roll all 1,200 pounds on top of you, which would crush your hip, which could possibly paralyze you if you do not jump off. I broken many bones, messed up my knee, broken my fibula, ankles, foot, fingers, hands, arms, rib, you name it. I have been in the hospital for it. Yeah, so that is where this first chapter takes place. Is it back on that farm? And messed up the camera again. Speaking of writing dreams down and everything, my unconscious returns to that farm more than any other location. So I've had those dreams, and where that first chapter came from was the actual passing of my grandfather. I couldn't be there. I was actually at Telluride Film Festival at the time, and I didn't know that it was coming his time, and I got to say, so the Gary, I tried calling everyone. I did get a phone call, and I did get to say those words, best of my recollection of what I said. I was honestly pretty hysterical. I was like in Telluride, Colorado. I was both physically and mentally like at the height. I was one of 50 students chosen to attend the Telluride Film Festival, which was a life-changing experience for me. Got to see La La Land, Damien Chazelle, big fan. It was the premiere of Moonlight, and when I first got called that my grandfather had passed, I was in line to see Moonlight. I was crying already going into seeing Moonlight. And, I was crying, but I was like trying to hold back tears because I'm in line, and, everyone's like looking at, and it's just seen on my face. And someone asked me like, what happened? And I couldn't even bring myself to say. I just said I got some bad news. I couldn't even bring myself to say that my grandfather had passed, who was really like a father figure to me. And I couldn't even bring myself to say it. I just said, I got bad news. And then I get into the cover of a darkened theater. Luckily, it was a sad movie. And man, like my soul just poured out in that film. And I'll always remember that. Always remember that feeling. And the day before, did we see? I'm trying to remember. We got to meet Barry and Barry Jenkins, who directed that film, and just such an experience. Just such an experience. And Mahershala Ali was there, played an excellent, excellent role. Naomi was there, Emma Stone, Tom Hanks, Cranston. Cranston is such a, oh my God. Whatever you think he would be, he's even more even more. That's all I can say. When I say go further, when I sign my books, go further, he goes further. He says no artist, when we're there and taking notes best you can while you're meeting these people. He says an artist should never be bored. If you're bored, just go up and well, now after a pandemic you don't want to do this, but just go up and smell a random person and then write down whatever that smell makes you think of. I've never thought of something like that. It's just little things. It's kind of like the questions. So for each character, and like you're reading books about writing and whatever, you study writing, there's just questionnaires that you come up with. Yeah, you take questions from books you've read, but there's a questionnaire that you come up with for each character, and you answer these questions both about your character, but also from the perspective of the character. How would the character answer these questions given and posed to them? And you come up with you go down interesting roads. You go down very interesting roads when you do stuff like that. Made me think of so if you're bored, you're an artist, just go up and smell someone random, which I know is very weird. It is jarring to one's psyche. So I've added that, and I've kind of thought what would my characters smell like? Like that's just another dimension that when you're making a film, you know, writing, yes, you want to know what they smell like, or as it adds that, but visually, like how do you come up with a smell? Just interesting, very interesting. And when you do write like that, like you start to see people as characters. Like first and foremost, you see yourself as a character. And it's like, oh, I've had people, especially people that know me that have read this, they're like, oh, you're Orby. It's interesting to me, And I tell them all of the characters are my children, And other writers will tell you similar things of what their characters mean to them and why it's so hard to kill them. George R.R. Martin, Red Wedding is the hardest thing he's ever written. And from my perspective, I totally relate to that. If you've read that chapter, it was the last one. So, and he said when he was writing the book, he actually skipped that chapter and went 2 chapters after it. And I relate to that, especially after writing the second book. No spoilers. I'm not giving out spoilers. But I just find it interesting when people read this that know me. They're like, oh, you're Orby. Yes and no. Yes and no. With everything in these books, I take reality and I go farther. Go further. That's why I sign these books. Go further. We know what reality is. And what the crazy thing is about this book, especially the second one for me, is that I wrote of diseased people and everything before this pandemic. Like there's so many movies, whatever of, oh, this movie predicted it. Oh my God, it's just like this movie. I'm not trying to say that Bleace is like that. Yes, it's an allegory for life. It was just very jarring to me of like writing about certain things. And when people read this, they're going to be like, oh, Squirmy is the 45th president. I refuse to name him because his name is a brand. But they're like, Squirmy's the 45th president. I came up with Squirmy before he even announced he was running for president. So he wasn't based on that. And they're going to say, oh, Volturius is Putin, which that is true. I did base Volturius on Vladimir Putin. And it's just so interesting that that dynamic happened in 2016, which is another like mind-blowing experience. I have documents and everything that proves I wrote these before that dynamic was developed. It was just very interesting that I had Volturius dynamic already established, and then 2016 happened, which I have in my thesis, which I've discussed on these streams before. Users with dissociative identity disorder. Was watching an interesting documentary last night, just another one. And I feel like those documentaries, they talk about the what and the how. I am focused solely on the why question. Why? Why are these people drawn to fantasy? To things outside reality? What draws them there? They've been conditioned all their life towards fantasy. How many lies has average American been told before they turn 5 years old? Santa Claus, Tooth Fairy. These are just little lies. They're innocent, but it speaks to a larger concept and a pattern of behavior. Yes, you come to realize that these are lies. Okay. Is that a lesson in and of itself? Do you grow from that, or does it hinder you? Do you suck your thumb at 15 years old? Jarring to one's psyche. And in the second, in Paradox, I try to live up to that name, and I came up with the title of the book after I had written this edit. I didn't necessarily have a title in mind to the second one, but I was like, Paradox. Paradox came to me. I really liked Bleace Paradox. Yeah. Paradox came to me, and it made me want to ask a bunch of questions. So I do ask a bunch of questions in this. Some get answered, and some are meant to question the reader to answer. I want the reader to answer from their own perspective. You know? Let me see if I can find one. Just as an example. Or maybe I don't want to go down that road. But yeah, Bleace Paradox, the sequel. All right. changing gears a little bit, I want to get into some of these designs. Care Bear Carol's been hounding me for new gym clothes. Just got to stay fresh at the gym. Got to stay fresh at the gym. At the yim. At the yim. Got to stay fresh. Got to constantly be coming with new clothing to the gym. And I just wanted to show some of the guides that I have. For this. I have so many tabs open. So these are the yoga shorts. Hold on. Give me 1 second here. Sorry, I got to do certain things live, you know? You got to do it now or never, you know? Hope everyone's good on this Friday. I may do this one. I may. I like this one. But I'm going to do different colors. All right, give me a second. I will be right back. Do have to run to the little boys' room, but let me pull this up real quick and leave you on this real quick. This is where you can get both novels. And if you sign up, receive 10% off your first purchase. On top, buy one softcover book, get the second one 25% off. Be much appreciated. That's where you can get these books that I read from today. Bleace and Bleace Paradox. It's a sequel. That was where the readings are from. I will BRB. BRB really quick. Then we're going to make some cool designs. It'll be worth the wait, I promise. Be right back. Baby Yoda says hi. Baby Yoda. What does Baby Yoda have to say? Is it a- That's what Baby Yoda has to say. The child. I know it's the child. There's It's the Force. It's the Force. The Force. Force is on the books. On the stack of books. I hope it doesn't fall over. Happy Friday, peeps. Happy Friday. Yeah, this is Bleace.com. You know, catch a vibe. Have a good time. But I like and we also have sports bra that I want to put together. And these can also be seen on the site here. So the sports bra I want to put together. Another one from the design put together on the stream the other day. Putting them on some prints, you know, making some leggings I want to do. We did a face gaiter the other day. But basically something like this whole setup here. So we've got leggings, the sports bra, the neck gaiter. Carol says this is her Armageddon apocalypse look here. This is what she's going out in. Guns blazing. Bleace blazing. So yeah. This is kind of what we're going for here. And I'll just pull up real quick. All right. This is the design I want to work with. The colors anyway. There's a few designs. Within this piece that I want to work with. That's one. This is the other one. All of these were made on stream. If you were here hanging out the other day. Here's the neck gaiter that we put together. So the sports bra. And it can also be like a headband, you know? It's versatile. It is versatile. I think this will be good for the bra. And that this one will be good for the shorts. I'm going to make little shorts. It's going to be springtime. It's going to be springtime here. Today, it's -2 degrees outside. Ranger had to shit in -2 degrees. He was not happy about it, even though he was wearing his little sweater. He has a little sweater. He has a little sweater. Ranger Danger with a little sweater. Little sweat action. You guys, if you're not, give a follow at Bleace. You know, we'll be doing different stuff on there. Just vibing out on this Friday. On this Friday. A little Bleace day. Let's take this over to the yoga shorts. Let's see how this looks here. Take it below the goid. But I think, yeah, we're going to go 45-degree rotation on this. 45 degrees. And then we're going to make it a little smaller here. And I'll manipulate the size, you know. I want to get the curvies. Maybe full 90. And of course, it's all on the mock-up. Mask this out. This little. We'll put something else there. I like how that's gonna that'll flow on the booty. On the booty. Booty, 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 booty. Let's save this as a PNG. And I'll bring it back in. That way it's flipped. I want it flipped. Alright. I should have made sure. No. Yo, what's going on, man? SoCal Rider, what's good? Appreciate you hanging out. Putting together some stuff here. This was the little IGTV cover I made. Like this design. Mess with this one too. Maybe I put this on the shorts. What's up, man? I may put this on the shorts. It may work better. It may work better here. Just hanging out with little baby Yoda here. Little baby Yoda. He's sitting on the books. There he goes. There he goes. You just gotta tap him on the head to wake him up a little bit. There he goes. Oh, we got updates popping up in there. Oh, he's a little whiny baby back here. Oh, there's the force. Disney's probably gonna take me down now. This whole stream's ruined. And be like, we don't even allow you to make GIFs of him. Not up in here. So yeah, I'm just applying these. I'll bring that in. Yeah, it's flipped. We flipped it. Where the hell did that save? Printful templates. So many folders, you know, it's easy to lose track. Yeah, I think that's kind of groovy a little bit. I think that's pretty groovy. It's pretty groovy, if I do say so. If I do say so myself, would have to say. Just fill this out because I'm going to do black stitching, contrast black. For real though, Disney does. Don't think Happy Ever After in Disney. They are probably the most cutthroat studio that there is. Look what they did to ESPN. Naming is everything. Yeah, so for myself, and I mainly make clothes for my own videos. I do have a site here, bleace.com. So putting together some stuff for my site. Got an online store. Putting together what this design, like this template for yoga shorts. But I'll do leggings too, sports bra, and the neck gaiter. So mainly what I use these for are my own videos and films that I'll be making will have exclusively stuff that I designed. So everything will, curtains, blankets, sheets, towels, clothing. It'll all be a new experience that people will be seeing for the first time at any given film. So that's what we're putting together here. We're putting together some more gym clothes for Care Bear Carol here. Got the leggings here. This is from the Botanical series. Yeah, check it out, bleace.com. I appreciate that, man. Thank you so much. I really appreciate that. Yeah, we try to keep it trippy. We keep it original. Sorry, breathing into the microphone. Yeah, so these are the other shorts. I've just got simple mocks. We haven't done like a shoot with these yet, but we do have them. Just haven't done a shoot, you know. Everything takes time doing these shoots. I've like the Carol says these are her favorite, the liquid. We did a top of rash guard, athletic shirt, sometimes called rash guard. Contrast stitching, the leggings to match. So yeah, just adding different face masks. The drink your drink did in black and white as well. Another neck gaiter, another shirt. I like how this came out with the black. There's this is sold out, unfortunately. The beanie, which I rock for Bleace Bandit at night. Really like how this beanie came out. The Bleace beanie. This is a Yasko drawing. And yeah, when you go to bleace.com, we've got our day ones, one day with day ones page filled with awesome artists I've collaborated with. Also the model here, Carol. Care Bear Carol. Tommy, whose design I'm working with today. Yasko, who did the Bleace beanie. Appreciate that. Yeah. My sister is in San Fran, you know. Love the culture out there. Love the look. Actually get a lot of hits from San Francisco area. Portland, out west. Miami. Lived in South Florida for like 10 years. So, been along the East Coast. I do want to get out on the West Coast, Arizona. Been has my eye. And of course, we got the novels, which started the stream off today with reading from the books. Bleace Paradox. Just reading from the books. This is the basis of everything. Is my fictional books. Ebooks as well. And of course, they come signed and with a bookmark I designed. Yeah, so you can mark your spot in the book. Really appreciate that, man. Thank you. Kindness goes a long way. You can make someone's day, especially an artist's day. Few short, simple words really goes a long way with artists. And kindness is free. Kindness is free. Love it. With Bleace, it always gets reciprocated. So, really appreciate that. And I've talked about the importance of naming files. There are classes in college strictly for file organization and naming. It's key. Because there's so many different designs that are just different variations. There'll be different colors. I have to put this in a template and see how this will come out. I also want to put this together. So we're going to have a front, back, and they're a little different. And I think the other, all right, I gotta get rid of this because it's throwing me. Check out at Bleace on Instagram, putting together some really cool stuff on there. Dude, I love that. I really love that. Yes. Support people's dreams. Best thing you can do. Rather, it's a popular artist or a coming up artist. There we go. Yes. You know, there's a book my uncle talks about, the tipping point. And there's like the tipping point. Once you hit that point, then everything just snowballs from there, you know. And it feels like once artists hit that tipping point, then it's cool to support them rather than supporting them before it's cool. You know, it's easy to support a popular artist. It's very easy. You know, and that's what the whole culture is like, oh wow, have you heard of this person? Like, yeah, of course. Like they're all over the radio. But yeah, again, like these are just quick designs that I came up with on the stream, on previous streams. Check them out. Like you can see me coming up with these from scratch. Sometimes they work, you know, sometimes they don't. We've had quite a few here that we've come up with on stream. So these happen in steps. You know, they started as drawings and then I scan them and I, you know, come up with different patterns, and then once I get patterns, I'll make videos. I'll take them into After Effects and make videos from them, and then put them on prints. And so this is just another brick in this wall, in this creative wall that we're building a wall, building a big beautiful wall here, a wall of art. I wanted to. Here's another pattern we made on the stream from a Japanese maple. I also think this could make for a cool design as well, which again was made on the stream. And you know, thinking of springtime, been working on earth tones for the animal animations that I've been making. What is happening? There we go. Yeah, so some earth tones, maybe make some cool stuff from that as well. You know, switch it up. Yeah. Yeah, so like this video here, and I'm going to be making a new header. You know, this is done, you know, some 3D animation in After Effects. So that's just, you know, as you saw in the one header, it's some designs, and then I take it in, and this is a photograph. Here's just a picture. This is made from one picture I took of trees, looking up at the leaves. This video here is made from one picture. Here's another. This is was made from a zoom out effect I did, and that animation is the cover of my book, Bleace Paradox. So that animation was made from that. And I also, behind me, have a canvas. You see it here? That's a canvas of the same artwork. So there's different levels to this. There's a lot of different levels we take with these pieces. And one of those levels is going to be a sports bra. And it's about how, you know, with each thing, it fits differently and has a different feel to it, which I really love. And like, even though even though I'm not wearing the women's clothing by far is so much more fun to put together than men's clothing. Men's clothing is more basic. Yes, the market, and like, I don't consider myself a clothing designer. If you think it's cool, great, you're supporting artists. It is more, I'm making this stuff for a character, and it's going to fit that character. And so I'm going to get my use out of it in the film I'm making. And that's really what I'm making this for. You know, anything outside of that, great. I love it. Like, if you love it and you want to wear it, awesome. Like, that is awesome for me. But there's so much competition for clothing, and, you know, knowing trends, knowing what works is a whole thing I'm not even getting into. My focus is making film, writing film, directing film, and having clothing that represents that character visually, how I see it as a writer and a director. Which, you know, when there's a huge film, you have those as separate. Bleace is different. Bleace is different than anything you've ever experienced. No, I want to go wider, actually. Oh, you're positive vibes. I love that. You're radiating positivity. You're radiating positivity. That's a reference to Bonnaroo there. You're radiating positivity. That's what. High five. High five Friday. It's like a poem from the. It's like my first poem. Reality. What is it? Living in dreams. What is in between? That's the first poem in the first book. That's what I start out with. So I like when you talk about dreams and reality there. What is in between? And you know, some of these designs, although I may want them to work on everything, they don't work on everything. And you have to know that limit of the design. Hey, this is not going to work. I'd rather me recognize that than force it. I don't want to force these designs. And yeah, get me going on some Alan Watts here. If you don't know Alan Watts, check him out. Some great videos of his lectures on YouTube. I have one of his books here on Zen. Nothing bigger than yourself. Kind of like that. all about perception, man. It's all in your perception. And see, the back is completely different, so I have to make something that's different. All right. But you're going to do something different here. I only want to copy some of it so that I know what's connecting. Because I want this to connect on the side here. This is where it can get really tricky. And that is what I want to inspire their writing, man. It's good for the soul. Let it out. Even if, you know, like when I started writing that book, I had no intention of letting other people read it. That's how you can start. It's a good way to start and not be self-conscious about the writing. You're just flowing and going, and whatever comes out, comes out. But I intentionally wanted to cross some lines in my book. That's some of the problem here of like it's working in some places but not working in others. Like I love the top here, but I don't really necessarily love this. I may displace. Oh, no, it's not displace, is it? That was distort. It's the thing of like streaming while working, trying to. Very interested. Go to bleace.com. Let's connect, man. Give a follow at Bleace. Let's connect, and would love to see some of your writing. Always open to reading poetry, seeing other people's art. It's mainly what I follow on Bleace. It's just other art pages or other artists. I don't know if you saw my day ones page here. Artists I collaborate with. I'm always giving shout outs. Big believer in that. Another person's success isn't against your success. Everyone can succeed in what they want. It's not I feel like in art, like you feel competitive, but you're really only competing against yourself. And like I'm extremely harsh on myself on things, but it's not against someone else. It's against me and my ability and the work I'm putting out. Masco, another great artist. I mean, I can't, and my limitation, and part of being an artist is knowing limitations. Mine is drawing. Like I cannot draw. And if you do get a book signed by me, and if I put in a note, I apologize for my terrible handwriting. It's awful. I have really bad handwriting, and I know that. Whatever, so do doctors. What the hell's wrong with me, doc? I can't read this shit. I don't know, but it'll cost you $100,000 in your left leg. Have a good one. Charlie, shout out Charlie and Day Job Online. Shark Anthony, who just released a song. Shout out Shark. Killing it on the ones and twos. And go further. That is my saying right there. I know Ford has it. Whatever. It's different meaning. They're wanting you to go further in one of their vehicles. I want you to go mentally further. Go further than you did the day before. Mentally. Perspective. Again, why I chose to read that chapter. Jarring to one's psyche. I want Bleace to be jarring to one's psyche. It's 3:14. Shout out 3:14. Yo, thank you for the follow. Thank you. I really appreciate that. Thank you. It means a lot. Appreciate the follow and the all around positive vibes from you. I'll be sure to follow back. Follow is free. Subscribing on YouTube is free, and it means a lot to people starting. Yeah, again, this was made from a photo I took of just looking up at a tree, and I just did some 3D effects and After Effects, which I really like doing. This again is some After Effects stuff from like, I have like a, yes. All right, I could be working. I can't. I'm like drawing a blank on what that effect is. Edit. Maybe it's edit. Transform. Distort. That's what it is. No? What am I missing here? Am I just completely blanking on this? Warp. Is it warp? There it is. Wow, I was drawing a blank. Because I want... So I want to have this line up with the front. So I'm trying to have the same edge that the front has, which is going to take some warping. I like how this is flowing. I try to accentuate some curves, you know, in these designs. Pretty trippy, man. Keep it trippy, man. Keep it trippy, man. Do the same thing here. Since I am doing black stitching, I'll do, like for the bra, I'll do black and white. I'll have it white because, you know, other people may want white on the outside. If you saw the bra, it has like a line. And this part won't be seen anyway. I'm just, for the sizing purpose, just putting that back there. Breathe. Take a deep breath. That was also in the chapter I read today. Just take a deep breath, Orby. His therapist telling him to take a deep breath. So Spot on with that. Spot on with that, SoCal. All right. I need to make a new folder. Actually, I have quite a few uploads folders. New print. Create. Oh wait, this is back. It's all a process. It's all a process. I'm gonna take a bite of a granola bar. I should have ate before starting the stream, but try to get some yum. Oh man. I just wanted to show you what's on the screen without showing you everything. Like this is just what I have up on my print. I was getting templates for swimsuits and stuff. And I throw Google and like Facebook advertising, you know how they keeping your cookies and whatnot. I confuse the hell out of them. I straight up confuse the shit out of them. Either I'm just a man that cross dresses, or they don't know what to advertise. So, like I said, I like designing women's clothes. I think it's so much more fun than men's clothes. There's just so many different things, you know, the leggings, the bras, the bikinis, the one piece. And so while designing, I'm looking up other stuff, you know, for inspiration or just looking up stuff. So as material, it's not anything other than that. But as you search stuff like that and it comes up in your cookies and you're just throwing these advertising, like what do we show this person? So it's funny, like when I do stuff like that and then I'll go on Facebook or something and I'll start seeing ads for that stuff. It's really funny. What's up? What's up? It's Friday. If you have a weekend, I hope you get to enjoy it. Not everyone gets weekends off. You know, this isn't 9 to 5, 1950s era anymore. always, always watching, even when you don't want them to. Once you grant them access to your microphone and your camera, they can go on that when they want. Have to upload these files now. I'm hardwired in, but I have a lot going on the internet. And I know as a streamer, TikTok is good, but they are owned by a country that does not share same privacy policy laws as other social media companies like Facebook or Twitter or Snapchat. They don't have to play by the same rules. I feel if I were to get TikTok, I would want them to play by the same rules. And that was the only time, other than the $2,000 checks, that I agreed with the 45th president, was his stance. And I don't agree with why he took that stance. He took that stance because TikTokers made him look like a fool in Oklahoma. And then he wanted to come against TikTok, and he was pissed off like a whiny little bitch that he is. And that's why he went against TikTok. But I agreed on the stance. Oh, here's Alan. Speaking of Alan Watts.
How you manage to be conscious. How you manage to grow and shape this body of yours. That doesn't mean to say that you're not doing it. Equally, you don't know how the universe shines the stars, constellates the constellation, and galactifies the galaxies. You don't know. But that doesn't mean to say that you aren't doing it in just the same way as you're breathing without knowing how you breathe.
I love songs that incorporate Alan Watts's lectures. They're great. And there's quite a few on Spotify that do that. It's great stuff. Makes for great song material in a way that it wasn't meant to. Like, that's what makes it so great. Like, he's just giving a lecture, but you take clips of that and put it into a song. It elevates it. All right. Where'd my mouse go? There it is. Connection lost. Connected. Something happened to my Bluetooth. Okay. Get a mock-up view of this. This design here. I think this one will make a cool one. Elevate your life. Yes. Meditate, 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 as J. Cole put in his album. Ooh. Ooh, ooh, ooh. Okay. 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 I'm liking this. I'm going to save these out. God, I have so many folders. Like, I'm trying to remember where everything is? I'm trying. I promise I'm trying. There we go. I like the flow of this. I like the flow. I like it a lot. It has to get Care Bear Carol's approval. It has to get Care Bear Carol's approval. If she's still on the stream, I'm going to have to show her later. But I like this flow. I like how it's flowing. You know, it's a low res photo. But I like the flow. I like the flow. What's that? I like that flow, baby. Oh. And that was some leggings. You like it? Oh, I got the yoga shorts too. I gotta test. Okay, here we go. Here's a hoodie I put together, and you'll see a hoodie. It's got you got the front with even the under here. You have the back, front pocket, hood, left sleeve, right sleeve, and you got to get everything working together. Everything's got to be a friendly, happy family. Everybody's got to get to know each other. Everything's got to connect. You got to connect. We got to connect. Me and you, we have to connect. The left sleeve, the right sleeve, the front, the back, the front pocket. Come on, baby. Connect with me. And see, the back is just different. But, you know, it took some time. And then this was made from a similar size, so I keep everything 6K by 6K. And so when I bring it in here and I do all these adjustments, like these are in groups, because I had to like account for this gap here. You see the little gap. So I had to account for that and then bring this down a little bit so that it connects in the cloth itself. So once I get this template down, then I can bring in another 6K, like 6,000 pixels by 6,000 pixels, which is what this size is so it's 20 inches by 20 inches, 6,000 pixels by 6,000 pixels. That's my standard template for these designs. And like in the case of the yoga mat, So this is also 6K. Yeah. And like in the case, so this is a yoga mat. So this will also go with the sports bra. So, and on a previous stream, Care Bear Carol's come in here with her matching liquid design, which I showed you, the top, the leggings, and the yoga mat. So we try to get a whole vibe, a whole gym setup, and you really like she said, she gets like a double look. Like, wait, what? Everything's matching? Oh shit! Oh shit! You go, girl! Oh shit! Oh shit! Ain't no one doing that. Ain't no one matching like that. And like this. We got the yoga mat. We got the sports bra. We got the leggings. And you got to wear a face covering. So why not a neck gaiter? You can be rolling up in the gym. Of course, not everything got to match. You can cross match on some Bleace stuff. You got the leggings. You got this. You roll up with the neck gaiter because you got to stay covered. You got the face covering here. Free shipping. 10% off when you sign up. You know what I'm saying? So that's what we're putting together. With the sports bra, and we're getting with this. We're about to be put. You're seeing a little behind the scenes. That's what these streams are. Is seeing behind the scenes. So I haven't put these on Bleace.com yet. We're just putting these together. We're just getting this line, and we took this drawing, made a little design of it. Now I'm gonna bring in the shorts. I'm excited about these shorts. Let's get these shorts together. I kind of like how that sports bra. It may need some work, and and that's the next step will be is getting samples. It's very fun. It's very exciting. I haven't gotten samples in a few months now. It's been a little while. Been doing some other stuff. Been getting this whole stream set up. Didn't get prints. When you're a business owner, you gotta, and you're investing in yourself. You gotta make investments in different areas. When I was doing the books, I invested in printing the books, self-published. Had to get them edited, another investment. Print them, another investment. It's in different phases. And Bleace is very broad in what we cover. Photo shoots, video shoots, time investments. A lot of time investment. A lot. There's a lot. You put everything in it. Blood, sweat, and tears. Love it. Dude, I live for this. I got it tattooed on my chest. I live for this. Got Bleace. And then on the other side, before I can truly rest in peace, I must express every piece of my soul. Tattooed on my chest. Bleace in that poem that I wrote. So when I say I'm invested in this, it's in so many ways invested in this. I love it. If I make something from it, great. But in the end, it's feeding the soul. It's purpose. It's purpose in life. It's finding purpose. That's what I put in the definition of Bleace. Harnessing that chemical energy that's found in every living creature in this universe. It's recognizing that and harnessing it and expressing it as long as it doesn't harm others. Writing, painting, photography, cooking, designing, Being a flaneur. I was a flaneur. I would consider for I try consciously being a flaneur for a year. A flaneur is someone, by definition. I'll actually pull it up so I can word for word definition this. I don't. Again, we don't like to misquote. Don't like to misquote. This isn't giving me a. Sometimes. Flaneur is a French noun referring to a person, literally meaning stroller, lounger, saunterer, or loafer, but with some nuanced additional meanings. The act of strolling with all of its accompanying associations. It's just strolling. It's just strolling, And when I was doing that, I had my camera, and I would be taking photos and videos of just strolling down the street, walking down the streets, Miami, Fort Lauderdale, Palm Beach, just anywhere, and just taking photos of it. All right. Onward. Going further. Getting these shorts. And I think this will complete today's stream. Did a lot in this stream today. Was a success. Yeah, I gotta get. Where did I save it? Okay, yoga shorts flipped. Here we go. Oh, I'm gonna say I didn't. Okay. I gotta save this out. It's one thing, I think. Right? Print file. Yes. And we'll save this in the same folder. There we go. I was thinking I saved in different. Oh no, not Streambox. Hope this fits. I hope this fits. See, and this is another example of what I was talking about with the hoodie. That once I get, and back belt, do I have to design that? Hold on. Ooh, the back belt. There's a back. Is that? For real? Oh, and I gotta. Oh, man. I didn't do the little triangle thing here. Okay, the shorts aren't ready yet. Okay. I didn't do the little triangle thing. Just doing something real quick here. I don't know if there's a. Is there a back? I don't think so on that. I think that's for the literal yoga shorts. Okay. Turn the guide off. Okay. I think that'll work. We'll see. We'll see. I think it'll work. Since changing, everything gets saved as a copy. I can't. Yeah, it'll say I'm replacing it, but I'm not. And it'll save as a copy. I have to check out the settings. Sorry, I just took that off screen for a second. Thank you for hanging out. Appreciate that, Kirk. Dude, really appreciate all the positive vibes today. High Five Friday. Have a good one. Till next time, man. Thank you for hanging out. Really appreciate it. Really appreciate the positive vibes. Radiate positivity, you know. Don't want to, gotta find that line of toxic positivity. You don't want to be toxic with it. And I know everything's not great, and I don't even try to pretend that. But stuff like that, it gets me going. I love it. I love it. Twitch has been positive vibes. It's been positive vibes. I'm digging it. I'm really digging Twitch. Getting on YouTube. Digging it. Really digging it. Thank you. Thank you for blessing someone's day like that. Let's see. Let's see if we can go 2 for 2. It may need some work. It may need some work. It's kind of cool though. It's kind of cool. It's kind of cool. It's kind of cool. I don't know how I feel about the front though. You know, you don't know how things are gonna attach necessarily. I think I may need to squeeze these in a little bit more. That, and it's like you'll change things based on what it looks like, and then for whatever reason, where's the thing at? Give me that. Okay, there it is. What are we doing? Oh, is it considering the whole thing? Oh, that's so weird. try this now. I could show you this one and see where I'm coming from, but this will make another copy of a copy of a copy of a copy. I'll delete them. It's like replace, but we're not going to replace it. We don't know why, but we're not going to replace it. We're just going to make a copy anyway. We're going to ask you if you want to replace it, but we're going to give you a copy anyway. Oh, this one, did it actually did copy over. Cool. I got to move like a little out of the way of the camera. Loading. Uploading a little bit. Prime example. Something that doesn't make any sense of why that's now showing. Alright. You know how I solved this? Alright, we're going to go back. Not scrunched. Some things get flipped. You think this is the left. It's the right. Right leg. Mod 1, yoga, shorts, right leg. Yeah, see, some of these names can get ridiculous, but they have to if you want to stay organized. I spelled print wrong, I just realized. That's funny. All right. See, you couldn't go 2 for 2. It sometimes just doesn't happen that way. That was very fortunate, and maybe once I print it, it may not be right, and I may have to go back and change it. Let's see if these changes work. We got the left leg and the right leg. High five Friday. High five. High five through the... Of course, it's 4 o'clock. It's getting dark here, so we're gonna wrap it up here by 4 because the lighting is shifting considerably. It's really considering -2 degrees out today. Oh, it's fucking cold. It'll really chop your ass. Just ask Ranger. I just shit in the cold. Can't wait for my cool gym clothes. That's what I like to hear. Good vibes today on this Friday. Really good vibes. It's a word I think is used too much on Twitch after watching like other people's streams. I'm such an idiot. Why did I think it had to be that size? All right. I won't suffer through this. We're going to do this one. It's going to be fine. It's great. Still needs some work, but you'll get to see the mock-up view. It's pretty decent. You know, I'm just going to be making some changes to the front, which will inevitably change the back. So here's the front, which I want to change. I'm kind of liking it. It's got a good foundation. I'm gonna play with it, and next stream you will see a difference. But where it's at, and just kind of give you a sense of where we're going, where we're taking things. We're not just slapping stuff together. We're actually, making stuff, and then it'll be cool to do a stream once we get the samples, and hopefully the samples come out right. I kind of like how this is flowing. I want to fix this here a little bit. It's not working necessarily for me. I'm gonna bring it in to the upload a little different. I do like how this is flowing here. Do like this. But yeah, this was a fun stream. Very positive vibes. I appreciate you. It's fun reading. Read a chapter from each book. Yeah, it was a fun stream here. Fun stream. Read a chapter from each book. Bleace and Bleace Paradox. Yeah. Baby Yoda made an appearance. He got to speak his mind, and the Force. Hope you felt the force of him. He's a force. Yeah. Well, Bleace Bandit will be on tonight. Bleace Bandit making an appearance, going all out on this Friday night. Hopefully, we be better than what happened on Wednesday night. Yeesh. Z-Town knows what I'm talking about. That was rough. The roughest gaming I've had. But we'll have some fun. We'll have some fun tonight. And there will be a certain Care Bear Carol who's going to play some prop hunt. She's never played Xbox Call of Duty, so this is going to be, it'll be fun. It's going to be a fun stream. So come hang out. Thank you for hanging out, and hope you appreciated the reading. And till next time, have a good one.